Seems like so far this year in the news, we've gone from one crisis to the next. Inflation, then it was interest rates, Russia and Ukraine, and now they're throwing around the dreaded R word, recession. I think it's time we have an honest, frank discussion about recessions and the potential impact to investors and what we need to be thinking about and how we need to be thinking moving forward. Because it's not a matter of if, it's when. Recessions are a normal part of the economy, and it's something investors just have to deal with. So, just since 1980, according to the NBER, the National Bureau of Economic Research, since 1980, we have had 6 official recessions, on average about one every 7 years. The longest one of these was the global financial meltdown, which started in December 2007 and ran through June of 2009. The shortest of this was the shock recession of the COVID crisis, the COVID-19 crash, which was just February through April of 2020. But it pulled down the gross domestic product, the GDP, nearly 20%, 19.2% in just that short amount of time. To add comparison to that, the global financial crisis pulled down over those almost a year and a half, or about a year and a half, between 2007 and 2009, just over 5%. So very, very different recessions. And of course, we had everything in between. But on average, those recessions have lasted about 10 months apiece. And the decline in the gross domestic product on average was about 5%. Here's the good news, though. Over that time, the per capita gross domestic product, adjusted for inflation, so the real GDP per capita, has doubled from about 30,000 per capita in 1980 to about 60,000 at the end of 2021. That's incredible. That's an incredible expansion of real economic progress. More than that, for investors, the S&P 500 was just over 100 in 1980. Even at correction prices, we're about 40 times right now the value of the S&P 500 that we were in 1980, despite 6 recessions along the way. So just remember, recessions are temporary, just as the price declines. Also, we cannot time recessions. They are unpredictable. And even if you could time the recession, you could still not make an investment policy based off that. You can't time the stock market's response or even know what the stock market's response is going to be. Oftentimes, the bottom of the stock market decline is long before the end of the recession, and certainly long before the end of the recession is announced. So we can't time it. We can't predict it. Sometimes it's just something we have to weather through. And that might be more so today than any other period recently, because we've got a bigger problem we're facing. Temporary fluctuation in principal, temporary market prices, that's not the disease. Temporary contraction in our economy, that's not the disease. Inflation is the disease. It's the permanent erosion of purchasing power. It's the gradual devaluing of our dollar and what they buy. That's what's stripping people's financial freedom away in retirement. That's the disease. And in the early 1980s, it took a recession to break the back of inflation. If that's what we're facing today, that might be something we just need to embrace. And if it takes a temporary contraction of our economy and an increase in interest rates and a constricting of the monetary supply, if that's what it takes to slow down inflation's advance, it might be something that's much needed. That's not maybe what all you guys want to hear, but it's something important to consider. But again, that's still a big if. We don't know a recession is imminent. We know one's coming eventually. We know we can't time it. We know we can't predict the stock market around that. So we just need to weather the storm. And in the process, enjoy the sale prices. Yes, prices might go down more, but right now you're getting a huge discount on equity mutual funds compared to the beginning of the year. Embrace that and don't be afraid of taking that opportunity. So just keep on stepping forward towards your financial goals. Stay disciplined, stay patient.